is already given what are the different types of intellectual property rights. I don't want to take a lot of time on the introduction part. I just want to ensure that as we are pharma people, we want to know what is the impact of the intellectual property on our pharmaceutical industry. I just want to give a small brief idea on this topic. So I have selected this topic. If you feel any doubt, please don't mind to stop me. So regarding intellectual properties, these are the rights given to persons over the creation of their minds. So they usually give the creator an exclusive right over his creation or her creation for a certain period of time. Like real estate, buildings and all, you can be, these intellectual property rights can be bought, sold, licensed, exchanged and given away. So the owner can prevent the unauthorized use of his creation. So when you think out of the box, you will get different ideas. Then you can file them as different intellectual property rights. When you come to intellectual property, there are two types. They are creation of the minds, like inventions, literary and artistic works, symbols, names, images, and designs used in commerce. So out of this, it will be two types, industrial property and copyrights. Industrial property is generally used in different industries, whereas copyrights will go to the artistic works. So in the industrial property, it will be patents, trademarks, industrial designs, geographical indications. Under copyrights, you will get literary and artistic works and related rights like the performing artists, producers and broadcasters will get different rights. So as I said, it's two types, and under the industrial property, patents, trademarks and industrial designs and geographical indications. Other one is the copyright and related rights. So this is regarding a GATT, which is a multilateral trading system. It was created in 1948 as the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. In 1995, this GATT has become WTO. So the WTO is the only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between different nations. And the goal is to help the producers of goods and services, exporters and importers conduct their business. So TRIPS. TRIPS is trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. This agreement came into being with the establishment of WTO, that is World Trade Organization, effective from 1st January 1995. And coming to WIPO. WIPO is World Intellectual Property Organization. It is an international organization dedicated to promoting the use and protection of works of human spirit. WIPO is the global forum for intellectual property services, policy, information and cooperation. With headquarters in Geneva, WIPO is one of the 16 specialized agencies of the United Nations system of organizations. So it administers 23 international treaties dealing with different types of IP protection, and the organization has 193 nations as member states. So the objectives is to promote the protection of intellectual property throughout the world through cooperation and to ensure administrative cooperation among the unions. So as I said earlier, I will just go through only the patents, and you might be knowing brief information about the introduction about the patents, but I will just go through few slides fastly. Okay. So as you know, the patent is an exclusive right granted by the government to an inventor over his invention for a limited period of time. So the patent permits its owner to exclude members of the public from making, using, selling or importing the claimed invention. So to protect your invention, you have to file a patent application in the patent of country where you want to protect your invention. For example, we are in India, so we have to file our application in the Indian Patent Office. And if you are interested to file patent applications in other countries, you have to file a PCT application, which is called Patent Cooperation Treaty. So you have to file a PCT application with WIPO. Then you will have the opportunity to enter into all 193 nations after 12 months. Then there is another way of protecting your invention. The problem with patent is you have to disclose all your invention and detailed manufacturing process of your invention in the patent, which will become public after it is published. So people, after seeing your publication, people will come to know about your invention, and they will make different ways how to overcome your invention and prepare the same product. So to prevent, if you don't want to disclose your invention, you keep your information as technology secret and to rely on what is referred to as trade secrets. So trade secrets protection allows the preservation of confidential nature of information from being unduly revealed and used by unauthorized people. So patentability criteria is it should be new or novel, it should have inventive step, it should have industrial application, and it should be part of patentable subject matter. So new means it should not be known. The invention should have something new characteristic and which is not known in the existing knowledge in its technical field. So coming to prior art is nothing but which is known to the public, already available in the domain before we file our application. It may be anywhere in the world, any language. For example, if you want to file a tablet for aspirin, you can't get a tablet for aspirin unless there is some different method for preparing the aspirin tablet, because already aspirin tablets are known in the prior art. Everyone in the scientist or all the people know about a tablet containing an aspirin. But if you have made the aspirin tablet using a new technology or new process, then it is patentable. So non-obvious means the invention must be non-obvious or involve an inventive step. That is, it could not be deduced by a person with average knowledge in the technical field. So as I said, if you take the aspirin tablet example, if the process is not known before how the tablet is prepared, then it is non-obvious. So the difference between the claimed invention and the prior art are such that subject matter as a whole would not have been obvious at the time of the invention was made to persons skilled in the art. So if this criteria is met, it is called non-obvious. So inventive step. Inventive step means a feature of an invention that involves technical advance as compared to existing knowledge, or having economic significance, or both, and that makes the invention not obvious to persons skilled in the art. So as I said, the process which we are making an aspirin tablet is a new process which is not known to the people at the time of filing our invention. So industrial applicability, as you know, it should be useful. Without any use, the patent application will not be granted. So at least for pharma, if you consider if you file a patent application, generally the pharma product will be useful to the people. So our applications generally will not be rejected based on industrial applicability. So some inventions are not patentable in India, so which are like frivolous, contrary to nature laws, then contrary to public order, and mere discovery of scientific principles, living things or non-living things. So living things, non-living things and all are not patentable. Then mere discovery of new form or new property or new use of already known process, machine or apparatus. So if you take a tablet, if you say aspirin tablet for pain relief, then if you say it is used for different indication, then it is not patentable. You have to show some advantage of already existing compared to existing knowledge. Then mere admixture. If you just mix A and B, it is not patentable. You have to show how A plus B is more advantageous over individual use of A and B. There should be some synergy because of the admixture. Then mere rearrangement and duplication of already known devices. Then method of agriculture, method of treatment, plants, animals, seed varieties. Microorganisms can be patentable. Then mathematical or business method, computer programs, algorithms. Coming to literary, dramatic, musical, or artistic work, these things can be protected under copyrights. Mere scheme, rule, method of performing mental acts, playing games, presentation of information, topography of integrated circuits, and traditional knowledge. These inventions are all not patentable. So is there any international or global patent? Means no, there is nothing like global patent. It is territorial in nature. If you file a patent application in India and it is granted, the rights will be only within Indian country. The same invention, if it is not protected in other countries, you can freely use that invention in other countries without any problem. And granting a patent in one country does not force other countries to grant the same patent. And if it is refused in one country, it doesn't mean that it will be refused in all other countries. So as I said, the PCT is WIPO administered Patent Cooperation Treaty, and it is an agreement for international cooperation in the field of patents. It is largely a treaty for rationalization and cooperation with regard to the filing, searching, examination of patent applications, and dissemination of technical information contained therein. Coming to the laws governing patents in India, it is Indian Patents Act 1970, which is amended several times, and Indian Patent Rules 2003, which is also amended from time to time. Coming to the international, our patents are governed under Patent Cooperation Treaty. So the term of a patent is 20 years from the date of filing for all types of inventions. So even though a patent is granted, there are some obligations or exemptions for if third parties want to use the patent. For example, for your obligation is you have to disclose all the details of your invention. And coming to the exemptions, if the patented invention is to be used for research or experimentation or imparting instructions to pupils in the classroom or colleges, then these are exemptions which cannot be considered as infringement. And use of inventions for government's own purpose or for public services, this condition also will not provide any protection to the patent. For example, during Corona, government has, even though the products or drugs are patented, government has asked the patent owners not to file lawsuits against the users so that all the people should get the patented drugs. And sometimes central government wants to take your inventions. At that time also you can't say anything. Then there is a provision for compulsory license or third party use, where if the invention is not sufficiently provided by the innovator, then government will give license to third parties to prepare that medicine and supply to the public. And prohibit or restriction of publication of patent information considered relevant for defense purposes. So if we want to file a patent application relating to anything related to defense, so central government will not allow those publications to be granted as patents. So when I say a pharmaceutical product, these are the different types of IPR involved in pharmaceutical product. When the brand name is created, we should protect that brand name using trademark. And the packing and style of the blisters or tablets, we can protect under designs. And if the printed matter and manner of presentation of package, leaflet or label, those things can be protected under copyright. And the novel formulation or process or combination can be protected under patent. If you don't want to disclose the information, we can keep it as a trade secret. So these are the different designs. If you take the round shape with a bone symbol, they have protected it as a design. And coming to the package inserts and information or leaflets, we can protect under copyrights. So for IP evolution, the property is their right. And When an idea is expressed, it can be protected under copyrights. When the idea is an invention, under patent. When the idea is a quality plus identity, it can be protected under trademarks. When the idea is an appearance, it will be protected under design. And if the idea is we want to keep the idea as confidential, it should be it will go under trade secret. So as I said, my main topic will be about the pharmaceutical industry and the Indian patent system. So the first Indian Patent Act was enacted in 1856 and which was replaced by a more comprehensive Patents and Designs Act in 1911. So the Act of 1911 allowed for product patents for drugs and medicines. So when the patents are allowed to protect drugs and medicines, due to this, the foreign companies or multinationals enjoyed a complete monopoly. So when the drug is developed, the MNCs will protect the drug using a patent for which they will get protection up to 20 years. So because of this, other companies or other third parties cannot prepare the same drug or market the same drug in India, which makes MNCs having a monopoly and they can charge whatever prices they want. And the MNCs dominated the Indian drug market. So they are engaged mainly in the import of drugs from their country of origin, and they will not manufacture any drugs in India. So during this time, the MNCs were controlling 80% of market, and they have not done any financial investments and technology help to establish drug production centers in India. So then the Indian Patent Act 1970 was stemmed from 1959 Iyengar Committee report, so that examined the reasons for the high cost of drugs in post-independence India, and concluded that high prices resulted from the monopoly of foreign-based pharmaceutical companies over the production of drugs. So to remedy this, the 1970 Act not only excluded drugs from the product claims category, but also redefined the working of patent as its commercial exploitation within India and excluded any importation from abroad. It also introduced safeguards like the automatic right to license in case of life-saving drugs. So 1970 Act primarily focused on process patents. Even though the drug is not patentable as such, the process for preparing the drugs can be patentable. So pharmaceutical product innovations as well as those for food and agrochemicals became unpatentable, allowing innovations patented elsewhere to be freely copied and marketed in India. So as I said earlier, the patents are territorial rights. So what happened, these MNCs are already having patents in other countries like the US, Europe and other regulated markets. So since India doesn't have the patent for drugs, Indian companies copy the same process and the same product from foreign patent applications, and they prepare the same drugs in India. So, and in the 1970 Act, the term of the patents was shortened to 5 years from grant or 7 years from filing date, whichever is early, on pharmaceutical process patents, and automatic licensing was put in place. So this became a boon for the Indian manufacturers. So by doing small modifications in the manufacturing process, they were able to market the drug substance as well as drug product even before the expiration of patents. So when a process patent is granted, it doesn't mean we cannot market the product. If the product can be prepared using a different process compared to what is claimed in the patent, then we can easily market the product. So this helped to establish the foundation of strong and highly compatible domestic pharmaceutical market in India. So due to rigid price control also, the drugs were marketed at a comparatively low price. With largest number of US FDA approved manufacturing facilities outside US, India became the source of quality products at affordable price. As a result, it is now a source of low cost drugs to entire world, including the largest and most regulated market of US. Then Then TRIPS agreement came in January 1, 1995, which meant that India as a member of WTO was required to abandon some of its long-held positions in the intellectual property field to comply with the provisions of TRIPS agreement. So, according to the TRIPS, all the countries should have same intellectual property rights rules, so that since India is a developing country, we got 5 years transition period and an additional 5 years to amend our laws on patent protection of pharmaceuticals. So the main requirement of TRIPS is all WTO members to replace process patents with product patent in all fields, including pharmaceuticals. So because of TRIPS, India has to amend a patent act and again give patents to drugs and pharmaceuticals. So to comply with the TRIPS provision, we have made amendments to the patent acts in 1999, 2002 and 2005. And again, in 2003, we have amended patent rules. So coming to the amendment in the 99, we have provided a mailbox application, which means if any company wants to file a product patent application, they can be submitted under the mailbox. However, it will not be observed until January 1, 2005. Then they introduced the exclusive marketing rights to sell or distribute the article in substance in India. So the exclusive marketing rights means since the patent is in a mailbox application, those MNCs who have filed product patent applications can market the product for a period of 5 years or till the grant of the patent or the date of rejection of application for grant of patent. So then they have amended our act in 2002, which extended the term of protection of all patents to 20 years in accordance with the TRIPS requirement. So previously the term is 5 years from grant or 7 years from filing date, whichever expires shorter. So then the term of every patent which has not expired and has not ceased to have effect shall be 20 years from the date of filing of application. So whichever applications are not yet expired by that time, all those patents got extended up to 20 years from filing date. Another provision in the 2002 amendment is compulsory license. The grounds for compulsory license is any time after the expiration of 3 years from the date of sealing. Any person interested may make an application to the controller for grant of compulsory license on the following grounds. There are 3 grounds for applying for compulsory license. That the reasonable requirements of the public with respect to the patented invention have not been satisfied. The patented invention is not available to public at a reasonable cost. The patented invention is not worked in the territory of India. So as I said earlier, the MNC companies doesn't have manufacturing facilities in India, and they used to import the same drugs from their origin country and market the products in India. But in 2002, to overcome these provisions, these grounds have been created so that if the patented invention is not worked in India, then that is one of the grounds for obtaining compulsory license. So in the year 2012, the Indian Patent Office granted a compulsory license to Hyderabad-based Natco Pharma to make and sell a similar version of Bayer's Nexavar, which contains the active ingredient sorafenib tosylate, and this is used for advanced kidney cancer drug. So far, this is the only compulsory license granted in India, and after this, no other compulsory license is granted. People have applied for compulsory license, but it is not granted. And in 2002 amendment, there is a special provision for compulsory license on notification by central government, which may be issued in a circumstance of national emergency, extreme emergency, or case of public non-commercial use, including public health crisis relating to AIDS, HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, and other epidemics. And this provision is helpful during our recent corona impact. When the corona is impacted, this provision is used and the central government has granted compulsory license to several drug manufacturers to prepare the drugs which are used for treatment of corona. And in 2002, there is another provision which is introduced, provision for certain acts not to be considered infringement, which is also called regulatory exception. So what regulatory exception is, when even though the patent is there, we can develop a drug product only for getting regulatory approval. We should not market the product, but we can start developing and preparing the dossier, preparing the ANDA and file the ANDA only for the regulatory purpose. So according to this provision, these generic pharmaceutical manufacturers are allowed to use the patented invention to obtain market approval from a regulatory agency for medicines and healthcare products without the patent holder's permission. So this rule is also known as Bolar exception. After 2002, again in 2005, they have made some amendments, out of which one is compulsory license for export of patented products in certain exceptional circumstances. So this compulsory license shall be available for manufacture of and export of patented products to any country having insufficient or no manufacturing capacity in the pharmaceutical sector for the concerned product to address public health problems, provided that compulsory license has been granted by such country or such country has allowed importation of patented products from India. So if you take African countries, those countries are very poor and they don't have sufficient manufacturing facilities for preparing drugs and other health products. In these situations, we can apply a license for like compulsory license for export of our product into those markets. Then in the amendment 2005, for product inventions in the pharmaceutical and chemical sector, patent holders shall only be entitled to receive reasonable royalty from such enterprises which have made significant investment and were producing and marketing the concerned product prior to January 1, 2005, and which continue to manufacture the product covered by the patent on the date of granting of patent, and no infringement proceedings shall be instituted against such enterprises. As I said earlier, before 2005, there are no product patents. Only from January 1, 2005, India is India has given patents for pharmaceuticals and drugs. So some people who have already developed the products and marketing before 2005, those are allowed to continue marketing the products, and they will not be sued by the innovators, even though the patent is granted. So if you see the table here, from 1970 to 1995 and up to 95, there is no product patents, only the process patents are there. And from 95, because of GATT, they started TRIPS agreement. They have given 10 years for transition period up to 2005. So again in 2005, the beginning of product patents era is started. So when you say Indian pharma, without US, there is no Indian pharmaceutical industry, because US is the major export market for India. So in US, there is an act called Hatch-Waxman Act, which was modified in 1984, which created a statutory exemption from certain claims of patent infringement and established the modern system of generic drugs. So according to this Hatch-Waxman Act, the generic manufacturers may commence work on a generic version of approved brand name drug anytime during the life of patent, so long as that work further compliance with FDA regulations. So according to this, as I said earlier, we have a Bolar exception, which says you can develop the product before the patent is expired. So when you take an example, when a patent is going to expire in 2025, January, so there is around 1 year time for expiring a product. And now you want to develop a product, even though the patent is there, we can file a dossier with US FDA, and we will provide a approval for that dossier. And only after January 2025, you can market the product. Before that, you will just file the ANDA and get approval and be ready for marketing on January 2025. That is the provision they have provided in the Hatch-Waxman Act, which means it will be advantage for our Indian companies. So increased competition from generic drugs has affected prices and returns in the pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical market has become increasingly competitive since the early 1980s, in part because of the dramatic growth of the generic drug industry. And one more thing in the US market is a DMF. DMF is Drug Master File, which is submission to the FDA that may be used to provide confidential information about our facilities, process, articles used in the manufacturing, packing, and storing.
To this 3-day virtual workshop hosted by Sierra College of Pharmaceutical Sciences. I would like to congratulate our respected correspondent, sir, Mr. M. Rajaram Mohan Rao Garu, and our dear dynamic and visionary principal, sir,
Active pharmaceutical ingredients for the US market, either as direct supplier to US generic companies or
and all the staff members
in
for
India
taking
and exporting
initiative
formulations to the US.
Conduct workshop on this important and most useful.
So, for developing a product, we need R&D. So R&D is required not only for developing the product, but also to ensure that the products do not infringe on any existing patents.
The Coca-Cola is never patented, but it's only maintained in three aspects, which is an industrial design,
but they will file several secondary patents like new formulations, new compositions, new route of administration, new salts, new uses of already existing drugs, new polymorphs, and new process for manufacturing the drug. So these secondary patents are obtained later, and hence these expire after the basic patent.
Nobody can produce a drink which is exactly the same taste.
So this is nothing but evergreening.
So this is one of the best trade secrets.
Studies have shown that innovator companies use patenting as a matter of strategy to maintain their market dominance. So when you say evergreening, it refers to different means a pharmaceutical patent holder employs to exploit the legal loopholes of patenting to extend or fortify monopoly typically over blockbuster drugs by either filing secondary patents on previously patented invention just before the end of term of the parent patent or employing other related regulatory policies.
Only for the appearance of the article and not how it works.
If the drug product is going to expire in January 2025, so there may be a composition patent or a method of use patent which will expire in 2028, 2030 also, because they will first the drug product is developed. After that, a dosage form is prepared, either a tablet or a capsule, and the innovator company, they will develop different methods. They will study different method of indications, like how the drug is used in different indications. For example, if the drug is used for hypertension, then the same drug may be used as a painkiller or some other indications. And they keep on filing the patent applications, which will have later expiry compared to the original drug expiry.
Mr. Pulipati Varun.
So for the Indian market, it is not enough to just file DMFs and ANDAs. Our generic companies must be sure not to infringe the secondary patents in API process and formulation products. So generic companies which can challenge the secondary patents of the originator companies can have their own patents to reap huge benefits. So apart from DMFs and ANDAs, patenting is increasingly becoming important for generic companies desiring to move up the value chain. And the development of generics also encourages the research activity. Many Indian companies compete with other global generic companies in filing patent applications on various API processes, polymorphs, and formulations. This results in enrichment of intellectual property of generic companies. Then, though Hatch-Waxman Act was introduced in 1984, Indian companies made entry into the US generic market in 1997 with first approval by Ranbaxy. Since then, the number of companies as well as number of ANDAs by Indian companies is increasing tremendously. Indian companies are competing with companies in other countries as well among themselves to launch the generic product on the day one soon after the expiry of the product patent. Most of the top Indian companies have their major turnovers from US market. So when you come to the current scenario, our Indian pharmaceutical industry is third largest by volume and 13th largest by value. So it is the largest generic drugs provider. Low cost of production and availability of skilled manpower and in-house R&D increases efficiency of Indian companies. So because of the low price and high quality, Indian medicines are preferred worldwide, thereby making the country the pharmacy of the world. The major segments of pharmaceutical industry are generic drugs, OTC medicines and API bulk drugs, vaccines, contract research and manufacturing, biosimilars and biologics. Indian pharmaceutical industry plays significant role globally. India has the highest number of US FDA compliant pharma plants outside of USA. There are 500 API manufacturers contributing about 8% in the global API industry. India is the largest supplier of generic medicines with 20% share in the global supply by manufacturing 60,000 different generic brands across 60 categories. So access to affordable HIV treatment from India is one of the greatest success stories in medicine. India is one of the biggest suppliers of low-cost vaccines in the world. So the pharmaceutical industry in India is currently valued at $50 billion. The pharmaceutical industry is expected to reach 65 billion by 24 and 130 billion by 2030. And India is a major exporter of pharmaceuticals with over 200 plus countries served by Indian pharma exporters. India supplies over 50% of Africa's requirement of generics, 40% of generic demand in the US and 25% of all medicines in the UK. India also accounts for 60% of global vaccine demand and is a leading supplier of DBT, BCG and measles vaccine. 70% of WHO's vaccines as per essential immunization schedule are sourced from India. The major credentials of Indian pharmaceutical industry in 2023 is India during financial year 23 has exported to 210 destination countries and provides generic medicines to more than 200 countries. 8 out of 20 global generic companies are from India. Around 60% of India's exports are to highly regulated markets like North America and Europe. USA is the largest exporting partner of India by country. India has 9 generic companies among the top 25 generic pharma companies globally, and 90% of WHO pre-qualified APIs are sourced from India. This is the growth of pharma sector over the last 5 years. And coming to the import and export of pharmaceuticals, if you see the exports are increasing year by year. Coming to the Indian pharmaceutical companies having accreditation from US FDA, we have around 703 sites registered with US FDA, 4,500 DMFs filed, 6,000 market authorizations granted only to Indian companies, and 58 formulation companies with ANDA approvals, and 41 first-time generic granted to Indian companies in 2022. By percentage, 41% of first-time generics are from India. So what is the advantage of India is cost efficiency. Low cost of production and R&D boosts efficiency of Indian pharma companies, leading to competitive export. The economic drivers, high economic growth along with increasing penetration of health insurance to push expenditure on healthcare and medicine in India. And policy support. In June 2021, Nirmala Sitharaman announced an additional outlay of 197,000 crores that will be utilized over 5 years for pharmaceutical PLI scheme in 13 key sectors such as active pharmaceutical ingredients, drug intermediaries, and key starting materials. Increasing investments. The FDA inflows in the Indian drugs and pharmaceutical sector reached US 1.2 billion between April-December 2021. Investments and recent developments. The Union Cabinet has given nod for the amendment of existing FDA policy in the pharmaceutical sector to allow FDA up to 100% under the automatic route for manufacturing of medical devices. Pharmaceutical sector has emerged as a favorite destination for foreign investors and is one of the top 10 attractive sectors for foreign investment in India. The sector contributes about 3.71% of total FDI inflows in the country across various sectors. Total FDI inflows in pharma and med tech sectors have been 1,32,568 crores from April 2000 to September 2022. So during COVID, the Indian pharma industry has also played important role in meeting the challenges for mitigation of infection. The industry worked in close collaboration with the government and academic institutes to quickly develop and refine manufacturing process, which helped to ensure a consistent supply of medicines needed for management of COVID-19, like the drugs remdesivir, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, dexamethasone, tocilizumab, favipiravir, and Indian drug supplies throughout the COVID-19 pandemic period have provided relief to over 120 countries for hydroxychloroquine, 20 countries for paracetamol, and about 96 countries for vaccines across the world. So coming to the road ahead, the pharmaceutical industry is currently 50 billion and it will be increasing up to 130 billion by 2030. The medicine spending in India is expected to grow between 9 to 12% over the next 5 years, leading India to become one of the top 10 countries in terms of medical spending. So government has taken many initiatives to reduce cost and bring down the healthcare expenses. Speedy introduction of generic drugs into the market has remained in focus and is expected to benefit the Indian pharmaceutical companies. The thrust on rural health programs, life-saving drugs and preventive vaccines will provide space for development of pharmaceutical companies. So with this, I will end my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Intellectual property and heritage in digital world. We are going to know the details of how IPR plays a key role in this competing world.
Thank you, sir.
Using digital tools and various applications.
Hello.
Yeah, please ask me if you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. That's a very informative session, sir. And of course, about patents, and it is a very valuable session. And it's a very elaborative, sir. Starting from the trademark and patent, about the organizations, you have covered everything, sir. Please, from the audience, if anyone have doubts, please address, sir.
In digital formats, IPR and its impact on pharmaceutical industries, technological changes, ensuring long-term accessibility, digitalization and conservation ethics.
You can ask me any questions relating to the patents in pharmaceutical industry. There is no issue.
With the objective that all participants will acquire the knowledge on ideas, designs, symbols, writings, and
Okay, sir.
creations.
I hope there is no questions at all.
Digital media,
Actually,
Very informative.
it will be two situations where you will not get any questions. Either you understood everything or if you don't understand
If
anything.
it is stolen, it may be
So I feel you understood something from my presentation.
Will have with us highly talented and esteemed resource.
Obviously, sir. Because it, you have covered everything from the starting to the pharmaceutical industry and the current scenario also.
Indian Safety Services Private Limited, Bangalore. Dr. K. Ravishankar,
Now I'm handovering the session to the
Department,
Jazli ma'am
NATCO Pharmaco
for
Limited,
vote of
Hyderabad.
thanks.
And on Monday, Mr.
Ma'am,
Giridhar Sivalappa
please.
Garu.
Yeah, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Ravishankar, sir, and good evening, Varun Pulipati, sir.
Let us be determined, practice with
Good evening,
discipline,
Jazli.
and be dignified.
Sir, you have nicely explained from basics to current scenario, sir. Like what are GATT, what are TRIPS agreement, WTPO, what are the patent rights and how to protect our inventions, what are the patentability criteria, what are patentable and what are not patentable also. Patent cooperation therapy also you have nicely explained. Obligations while we are patenting, what are the exemptions for patent use also you have nicely given valuable information, sir. Current scenario also you have explained very deeply also. It was very helpful to our students, sir. Thank you for giving a gracious explanation with our students and your presence also today. We are very fortunate to have had the opportunity to learn from your wisdom, sir. On behalf of REDDY College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, I'm expressing our deepest gratitude to Varun sir and Ravi Shankar sir. And I hope it will continue from our expertise in the future also, sir. From your expertise in our future also, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jajili ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.